All right. Well, good morning, everybody. This is Brian Stickney. We have Forex Joe here with us as well. And this morning, we're going to be going through Forex Live and utilizing our daily regimen for live trading to find some trades based on what we find in the daily report and from Forex Joe's alerts that he puts out every day. Before we get started, however, I do need to let you know that unique experiences and past performances do not guarantee future results. So I'm going to pause for just a second to put this disclaimer on the screen for you, and then we'll be back in I don't know, 20 seconds or so to get started. All right, that should be long enough. So what are we going to do today? Well, let's start by recapping what we did on Wednesday. So we placed a few trades on Wednesday. Two of those connected, and I got stopped out. Couldn't record a video for you guys. Unfortunately, I was going to record a recap video, and I was having some issues. I've been using a screencast tool, and I'm apparently maxed out on my account. So we've been working behind the scenes here and working with Chuck. He's given me a new license for Camtasia, so hopefully today I'll be able to record a recap of today's class and start getting those back online for everybody. So I missed the recap from Wednesday, so if you guys were looking for that, I apologize. But my pound trade, or not my pound trade, my Euro USD trade and my US yen trade both were stopped out for small losses. We were about 7.5, 8 pips on each of those. Of course, they do take that times 3, so keep in mind we're trading in lots of 3. So that wasn't the most pleasant thing, but hey, that's part of it. We're going to have winning days and losing days, and winning weeks and losing weeks. That's just part of trading. But every single time it wouldn't be a challenge, would it? So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. We had some news this morning, and the market's kind of chopping around. It looks like we've seen some movement, but it's very, very minor. We're not seeing too much of anything going on still. Some of these pairs have really been trading in extremely tight ranges right now, and it's been amazing how range bound this entire week has been. Actually, I think we're expecting more movement than this out of it, and just not seeing it. And I'm hearing that from a lot of different people, a lot of different folks that I trade with and talk to, throughout the day and throughout the week, or telling me they're just getting chopped out in this market, looking for these larger term moves and just getting whipped in and whipped out here and there. So hopefully things will start opening up maybe next week. We said that at the end of last week that we were hoping to start seeing some movement this week, but still not. So yeah, that's okay. It'll get there, and we just have to be patient. And as we're patient, we'll be able to reap the rewards from that. So let's go ahead and start our trading. We're going to begin with the Euro USD. So I have in front of me a copy of the daily regimen, and I'm just going to be filling this out as we talk. So I'm using this daily regimen for live trading here, and we're going to start with Euro USD. So current price is 33.05. 33.05. And first thing I'm going to do is pop over to my daily report. And the purpose of this, by the way, is we're, just for those that might be joining us for the first time here, what we're trying to accomplish in doing this is we're filling out our sheet, our daily regimen for live trading. And we go through step by step. We're going to collect a lot of data, current price, channel information, support resistance levels. We look at whether the markets are trending or oscillating, if the channels have been broken. We capture all this information, and then that allows us to step back into the market with confidence and actually, place some trades that we think might have the highest level for success, or highest opportunity for success. So that's what we're doing right now. We're doing our data collection first. So channel information is going to tell us here that we've got a channel top at 33.29 on the Euro USD, and we have a channel bottom at 32.48. So short-term channel 32.48, 33.29. Now, the interesting thing here is we do see that, and we've seen this number before, that we're seeing the weekly and the monthly, so the midterm and longer term channel is also lining up at 33.29. So that's telling us that we've got a significant level of resistance above us there at 33.29. So I want to be cognizant of that. Maybe put a little star by it. That's going to be a very heavy level. If price can push to there, we'd have a very good chance of that repelling and getting us some pips off of a bounce at 33.29. Now, does that mean it's definitely going to stop there? Absolutely not. It just says we have a higher probability of price stopping or stalling at that area. So the next thing we're going to capture is support resistance information. We're trading at 33.05. So what we see here is we go down to the support resistance numbers, and this is telling us that we've got below us, we have a support level at 32.92. And then if we break below that, another support level at 32.77. And if we break to the upside, we have 33.23, which is right there near that 33.29 area. And then 33.67, if we break through there, would be our next point of stopping, potentially stopping, or next point of resistance, we should say. All right, so now captured that. Next up, are we trending or are we oscillating for the day? So we want to know if we're trending or oscillating for the day. The general rule of thumb is, for this pair is if we've been trading less than 60 pips, we're oscillating. Although our market lately has been so darn tight that we're only seeing 60 or 70 pips on the short term for our entire move. The big thing is we have pushed a little bit higher than where we opened. So over the course of the London session anyway, it looks like we're in a bit of an upward trend. The big question though is, has the channel been broken? Have we broken above 33.29 or below 32.48? And here we look over here and we see 33.29 is a little above that. We haven't broken through that. 32.48 down here, haven't broken through that. So no, we have not broken our channel. Next is average daily range though. So where are we with our average range? Well, today we've moved 57 pips, 57.3 to be exact. So bottom to top, 57 pips. Our average range lately has been about 75 to 80 pips, so very, very light for the range. On a longer term, we're about 100, so 80 to 100 pips typically, but recently it's been more like the 65 to 75 pips. Here recently for this currency pair. It's been very, very tight, very quiet in the market. We've seen that all week. Really kind of surprised a lot of us, which is difficult because as traders, just from a psychological aspect, we want to trade. We want to be in the market, placing trades, doing things, and it's hard to sit on the sidelines. And oftentimes that desire to trade gets us caught up into making an impulsive decision or a bad trade. So just keep that in mind. We want to place the trades that are going to have high probability, and if that trade doesn't trigger, we shouldn't get too antsy about putting on a trade because these markets have been so whippy and quiet that it could just be a recipe for disaster. And a lot of times when you have success doing something, it reinforces it. So it's kind of a 50-50 shot right now, the way the markets are kind of moving around. So you don't want to force yourself into trades because that could create or reinforce bad habits. So we're going to keep going through the daily regimen and find the setups, and as long as we stick to the plan, then that's going to help us be consistent no matter what's happening in the marketplace. All right, so next up is news. What's going on for news? Do we have any news coming up? And we like to use forexfactory.com, great source for news. If you go here, do stay out of the forums. There's a lot of great forums here, but man, forums can really get you wrapped around the axle. It'll start making you question what trades you've placed. So if you do want to visit the forums, I mean, by all means do it, but do it after you've placed your trade and done your research, because otherwise you'll start second guessing what's going on there. You got to trade your trade. Best thing to do is just to stay out of them. Use Forex Factory for the news, what news releases are coming up, and what news articles are out there. And right now on the main page, we're seeing that we do have some additional news coming up here at the top of the hour. is the last U.S. Quote red report, which is the consumer sentiment report. And this morning we had some news that was negative for us for the U.S. dollar, and we're waiting for this one last piece. So what might happen is we did see an initial whip, and it might just kind of be quiet until we get this last piece of information, and we might not see movement until this last report comes out. And then depending on what this report is, especially if it's in line with some of the negative information we've seen earlier today, then I would expect to see a larger move continue. We're kind of due for it. So news, I'm going to put a Y. There is news coming up, and it's coming up in about an hour. Now, when I've got news in about an hour, that gives me a very short time to execute a trade that might get us in profit. So we'll talk about that in just a second. Last thing we're going to capture is our futures information. What's going on in the future? Oh my. Let's just close it and reopen that. That was going all over the place. For the futures, I like to utilize finviz.com, great site, and it allows us to get kind of a dashboard, a heads-up visual view of what's happening in the futures market. And this is a pretty cool site. It shows you all of our futures. We're concerned mainly about the Dow, crude, gold, and silver in relation to the dollar. Typically, when we're seeing money flowing out of the Dow, flowing out of crude, out of gold and silver, you're seeing the dollar strengthen. That's because we're closing positions here and we're holding them liquid in the US dollars. And then conversely, when we begin taking positions in the Dow and the crude, gold, silver, we see money flow out of the dollar. We're just taking these liquid US dollars and we're putting them back in to these other futures up here. So we right now what we're seeing is a kind of a slight lean to the negative side. So we're seeing slight down. Dow's down just a bit, crude's down a bit, gold and silver are down just a little bit, and as a result, we're seeing a strengthening U.S. dollar right now. So that'll be interesting to see what happens as our floor traders come on and they digest that news that's been released already. Now keep in mind the initial movements on that were mainly through electronic trading. So when the floor traders come on, we'll see if they continue that trend or what happens here. The big thing is this Dow, we broke above 15,000. We may start retracing back towards that. If that's the case, we'll see the dollar strengthen quite a bit more. So remains to be seen. We want to wait for that last piece of news. Since it is a red report, we'll wait for that last piece of news to come out and then place our trades after that. So, but right now there is a slight lean towards the negative futures, which would mean a positive U.S. dollar. Of course, that could change. We just want to be aware once the floor traders come online here in about 20 minutes. All right. So we've gathered our information. Let's pop back over here to our charts and see what we can find. So we've got, let's just put this up here, 33.29, big level right here, 33.29, and I'm going to color code that one red since that's a key level for us to watch. That's a 3 of 3 channel. That's big. And typically if price does push you there, you're going to see it reverse, at least initially. And it doesn't mean it always will, but it initially, under regular market conditions, it should touch there and give us a little bit of a pullback, maybe even a total reversal at that area. Next thing we have is 33. Well, 33.23 was right there, so we're not going to put that one on. I would favor 33.29 over 33.23 at this point. Just because they're so close, and that is my heavier channel. Next up, we would have 32.92. Just get my little bar out of the way here so I can put that on my chart. 32.92 right here. Looking good. That's actually a really nice channel to work within. And let me just color code this one purple so it's not a major area, so I don't want to, I like to color code the ones that are major areas. I like to color code them in red just so it stands out that that's a key channel. And then my other support resistance lines I put on, I typically just put them on in purple. All right, so then here we have also 3277. Get this out of the way. So 3277, and then down just a bit more is our channel bottom at 3248. Right there. All right, so we've got some information on our charts. Typically, we want to be cognizant of what's going on and what's happening in the marketplace, and the news is going to be a major driver for us. One thing I will do, even with news coming up, is I'm going to park a sell order up here at 33.29. I definitely want to watch that level. It's been a key level for us in the past. We've seen price really struggle when it gets there, and barring any insane deviation from what the expectation is on the report, I would expect to see a bounce off of that level. So I'm going to enter that presently. Now, the next thing we would do normally is compress our channels. And when we say compress our channels, we look at where things are trading for the day. And if they're different from the support and resistance levels that we've already drawn here, we might put on some new levels. Now today, this level that is now support, this 32.92, is great. I mean, what we saw it yesterday. It came down and price really struggled here. We saw it come back to this area and saw it as resistant, as support. Then finally it broke through. We saw it as resistance, and then it broke on news this morning. And you know, it broke it, tested it, and then broke above. So this would be a great spot to look for a buy order, and we can go ahead and put this one on as well. Now we do know we do have news coming up. Sometimes these lines get a little funky. There we go. So we do know that we have news coming up, and we don't want to go crazy, but we do kind of see where things are leaning, where the news came in this morning. The big challenge is, you know, what's it going to drive? Is it going to drive dollar weakness, or is it going to push the stock market lower? If the Dow starts dropping, even though it should be negative for the dollar, if the Dow starts dropping, those positions are going to be held in U.S. dollars, which could actually strengthen the dollar. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when that last bit of news comes out here a little bit later. So I'm going to watch this area right now. The only trade I'm going to actually put on is my my sell up here at 33.29, because this is a key channel. So I'm not too anxious to bracket this in. I might be missing out, but you know, right now it's kind of a mixed bag, right? We're looking over here at this futures market, and we're seeing you know, money flowing out of the Dow, out of crude, out of gold and silver, which would indicate that the dollar may actually get stronger. Now, right now it's down slightly, but this could, if these continue to push down, it could actually strengthen the dollar. And this is one of those times when I know a lot of folks watch news and they go, hey, it came out, it was totally negative for the U.S. dollar. The dollar should be dropping, and we should be, you know, seeing positive, you know, positive movement on the Euro USD. We should see, you know, we should be seeing, based on the fundamentals, that going up. But the piece that we're often missing when we say that or see that, I don't know why that site is blinking like that. I don't know if it blinks for you guys. Anyway, what the piece we're often missing is how the Dow's reacting. And sometimes you may have bad news, but you got to see how it's going to push the Dow. So if that actually makes the Dow drop and pull back towards the 15,000, we'll actually see strength in the dollar. So which is why I'm not too eager to play both of those, and I'm only going to look at this key channel, which is my my 3 of 3 channel up here at 33.29. So I'm only going to put on a sell at 33.29, and I'm putting that on because that's a key 3 of 3 channel. So that's why I'm putting that on and why I'm trading it. Let me just see what I did for my stop. I want to get too crazy here. Yeah, 10 pips, and we look to gain about 10 pips on that move. So you know, I may be leaving some pips on the table, but what I'm going to do is I'm looking for the trade that's got the most opportunity to be a bigger move for me. Now, a lot of you might be looking to play this level that we're coming back to right now. That's fine. I'm going to wait and see what happens when we push to 33.29. I'm not interested in playing off of both of these right now, just because of what could occur with this current market and what could occur with how the stock market might react to that last bit of news. All right, so with that said, I'm going to pop over here to the pound USD. And current price in the pound USD is 58.65. And the channel information on this one tells us that we've got a channel top at 58.19, channel bottom at 57.61. Now there's no alignment here, you know, in the short term, like we saw in the Euro USD. We saw the daily channel aligning with the weekly and monthly channel as well. Not really seeing that here, although just kind of a number we talked about before, a number for your back pocket here, 60.44. That was a big number for us earlier in the year. It could be a big number for us again if we can reach it. 60.44 on a weekly and monthly, so midterm and long-term level, is showing up as a channel top. But we're still a couple hundred pips away from that. I don't think we'll get there today. Maybe next week, we'll see. But just start keeping that number in mind as we, if we push closer and closer to it. Right now, we've got support below us at 58.07. Under that psychological 5800 level, and if we break through there, we've got 57.78. And then of course below that our channel bottom at 57.61. And then to the upside, we have 58.19. Oops, I'm sorry, we're trading at 58.65 right now. I don't know what I'm thinking. So 58.65, we've got resistance above us at 58.75. And then below us, we've got resistance at 58.19, which was our previous channel top. Are we trending or oscillating for the day? I think it's evident we're seeing a bit of an upward trend for the day. So we're definitely pushing up, and that's confirmed by our question, has the channel been broken? And we asked that, have we broken above 58.19? The answer is you betcha, yes we have. We've broken above our channel. Have we broken below 57.65? And came down and pushed near it, but did not get down there. But we have broken above our channel. Average daily range on this pair. Today we've moved 94 pips, and our average lately has been, you know, 90, about 80 to 90 on the really short term, and as high as about 115 on the longer scale there. News, we know that there is news coming up here in about half an hour. So yes, you've got news in 30 minutes. So that's going to tell us just to be careful. And then what's happening with the futures market, and of course there won't be a lot of movement there. Nothing's going to really have changed in the last 10 minutes or so, 5 minutes or so since we've been talking. So I'm not too concerned about that. All right. So when we looked there last, let's just pop over and have a quick look at it. And yeah, so not much has changed there. We're still seeing a slight lean towards the negative, and you know, if that continues, then this could be one of those days when we see you know, news occur that should give us a negative dollar, but we could see dollar strength if these continue to fall, especially the Dow. So we'll keep an eye there. So with that said, where do we want to look? Where could we look for potential trades? Well, we've got this channel top, which is previously the channel top at 58.19, which is right. Actually, let me get some of these things out of the way here. just going to click and reset this chart. So 58.19 was our previous channel top and blew through there on news, just pushed right through it. So, you know, obviously we could potentially see a buy if we pulled back to that level. Then of course above us we have 58.75, which is right up here. And that'd be a great spot actually, just looking at ranges. You know, if we look bottom to top, you know, that's about 100 pips, and our average range maybe a little beyond that at 114 on the high end. But here, over the short term, we've been topping out at, you know, 90 pips or so. So if we did make a push to this 58.75, this could be a great spot to look for a potential sell entry. But you know, given the fact that we've got news coming up shortly, I would hesitate to jump in. I think, you know, what we're going to see here is the markets are just going to stay kind of range bound until they get that last piece of information here with this consumer sentiment report, and then depending on how this lines up, especially if it's negative, we'll definitely see a direction. But we need to wait for this report and see what occurs there. And again, the big thing is going to really be watching this Dow. If this is one of those days, and I know I keep sound like a broken record, but this is just one of those days that you might see a lot of negative U.S. news and expect the dollar to weaken, but the dollar might actually strengthen if this Dow reacts negatively and pulls back towards that 15,000 level. So just be careful there and watch what's happening here as we as this news announcement comes out. So for me, I'm not going to place a trade on this one. I'm going to be cautious. I do have two levels that I would watch, and definitely if we push up here and it looks like it's stalling out, I'll sell off of 58.75 because that is the end of the range. Now, does that mean it couldn't push another 100 pips beyond it? Yeah, of course it could. But just we're just statistically we're saying, you know, this thing is towards the end of its range. Now we have that last bit of news that could push it a lot further, but you know, we'll see what happens there. And if that's kind of lackluster or mixed, then we would look to take a trade off of this level up here from a sell perspective. So we'll put those down and just watch 58.75 for a sell, and we'll keep an eye down here at 58.19 for a retest of that channel top. I don't know if we could really get that's. You know, we'll see. We'll see how far it pulls back, but we need to wait for that news and see what that news report comes out and tells us. All right, pair number 3. Let's do one more. We'll do it on the U.S. yen. U.S. yen. Still mixed up around that 99.67 area. Current price trading at 99.52. And channel information is telling us that, of course, we have a channel top at 99.67. And again, we see alignment here. That's a 3 of 3 channel. Price has been struggling right around here. It did push through it, didn't retest it at all until this Asia session began yesterday evening. So 99.67 been strong, been a very, very key level for us. Currently, we've pushed back below it, and our channel bottom for the day is 98.74. So we've got 98.74 to the bottom, 99.67 to the top. Support resistance information. Well, let's see. We're trading presently 99.52, so we're kind of at a decision point right here. 99.49, 99.50. Seems to be a decision point for us right now. That's right where we're sitting, probably waiting for that news to come out. Below us, we have So then below us, we've got 98.77. which is right there, with our channel bottom 98.74. So this area should prove to be a pretty tough area for us. To the upside, we've got 99.72. I would favor this 99.67 right there, near there, at that same area, 99.67. And if we break through that, 100.42. Are we trending or oscillating for the day on this one? Pretty much right back where we opened, didn't it? So chopping around, oscillating a bit. But if we look at the current trend, from Tokyo, we're below Tokyo, and we're actually retesting the Asia low right now. Has the channel been broken? Have we broken above 98.67? Yes, we have. Have we broken below 98.74? And the answer there is no, not broken below that channel. Average daily range. Well, today we've moved about 62 pips, and on average, here lately, we're seeing 80 to 90 pips for the range, 80 to 90 pips, which is pretty darn low considering that in the past we've been seeing this pair move into the 120, 130 pip range for the days. But for right now, 80 to 90 pips seems to be it. We know that there is news coming up, and the futures market isn't going to have changed too much in the last couple of minutes, but just to get in the habit of having a look there, we see still a slight lean to the downside on our futures market. So with that said, what levels do we want to keep an eye on for the day? Well, 99.67 continues to be a key level for us, and I would look to sell off of this level. And let's just where are my sell lines? We'll go ahead and park one there right now. Darn it, gotta refresh. Refresh. There we go. 99.67. And that's a 3 of 3 channel, so let's color code it red just so we've got it. It's a heads up for us. Big level here, 99.67. So we've broken below it. Right now we're waiting for news to come out. If we can push up, great spot to look for a sell off of that. Now again, just like we were looking at on the sell over here, that's kind of based on a weaker dollar. Things are lining up, and it kind of depends on how the Dow reacts to the last bit of news. We could, if that really pushed down, end up seeing dollar strength, and this could push through here. But for now, it is a key channel. It's a 3 of 3 channel. We've seen price bounce off of this a number of times. It really took it quite a few hits at 99.67 previously before it finally broke up, through into that 100. I think it was 103.5 where it topped out previously, and it bounced here quite a few times before it finally broke there, and we may see that again. So again, I'm going to park a sell order here, and the only reason I'm comfortable parking a sell is because that is a 3 of 3 channel, and typically we see those prices very well respected when they when it comes to them. I mean, the other day though, it did back here, it hit it, blew right through it, but more times than not, you're going to see price stop or stall at those significant channel levels there. All right, so I'm going to put on a sell here, and the only reason I'm parking this one ahead of news is because it is a 3 of 3 channel, and we know how that typically reacts. A lot of times you'll see it spike up on news and then whip back down. So we shall see if that plays out the same way it normally does. So we've got one trade on for the Euro USD, one trade on for the US Yen. I've got a couple of areas to watch here for the pound USD. So we'll see how those play out as well. All right, so we kind of know what we're looking at and what we could potentially trade. And now from here, we've got about 20 minutes to wait until the news actually occurs, and then we can digest what happens there and actually make some sound trading decisions. So with that said, I'll go ahead and leave it to you guys. Forex Joe, would you like to add anything before we wrap it up for the day?
You've done another excellent job here, Brian. Let me kind of share with you. Let's watch gold again today. Gold has dropped. We were up to $1,400, over $1,400 here recently in gold. Then it dropped down to 1363. Then we had another drop yesterday. It went as low as 1304, and I think it's bounced back up to the 1315 area. When gold is going down, the dollar should show strength. The other part of the equation is the Dow yesterday broke 3 straight days of triple-digit gains. It was only down 25 points. Now it's jumped up early today. First it went up 25 points, and an initial up to about 40 points. So we kind of got a dichotomy going on to where the Dow's actually going up, the gold's going down, and the dollar's stuck in a range, but we've broken below the 3,300. The key to this is that 33.29 is held. We've also seen movement in the pound moving up above 5,800. We've seen the US yen the last 2 sessions that is went right around 100 and bounced. So we are range bound. Now, here is the beautiful thing about range bound markets. You can be right a lot of times. You can get 5 to 1, 7 to 1, 8 to 1, 10 to 1 in these ranges, but we always have this caveat. We're going to be wrong once because it's going to break out of the channel. It's going to break out of the channel, and Brian did a superb job of giving you what those channels are in the various pairs today. I don't know if it's going to be today. What would happen? Our last class, I give you the details of what would take place for the U.S. For the euro dollar to go up, and that is exactly what happened as we had another day of triple-digit gains on Wednesday in our last class, and it was textbook. Today, you're going to be looking to see if gold stays above 1,300. If gold goes below 1,300, then you're going to see a retest of the low of 32.63 and probably get near 32.19. If the Dow stays where it's at and it doesn't get to 100 points, if the Dow starts going up and it gets near 100 points, then we're going to see a reversal on the euro, and it's probably going to go back towards 3,300. So Brian has given you the ranges. You know the ranges. Those of you that are playing today, get in and get out of the markets. Get your take profit 1, take profit 2, and then let the last lot run. Let me repeat that. Go ahead and take profit 1, take profit 2, get them off the board, and that way if you have reversals, you're taken care of. If you do have one that kind of runs a little bit, close the trade before the end of the day. Many of you are still in the US yen at 97.01. Some of you are in at 99.01. The low today has been 99.35. We have not retested that. Next week is the circus, okay? Besides the situation with the Fed on the 17th and the 18th, it's going to be a circus atmosphere. I have talked to a few of the traders that I know. A couple of them still haven't come back. They are playing range-bound markets. They're waiting, and they kind of figured that this is going to happen. It is going to open up. I don't know if it's going to be next week. It may be much ado about nothing with this Fed tapering. If you put a gun to my head, it looks like that they're just going to taper $10 billion because it's not going to kill them to do that. And they have to do something because of all the talk. If you were looking at all the data, they would probably want to hold off another month or two, like I've been talking about since June or July. But because everything has taken place as far as current market conditions, they can start winging it off of the heroin or the coke addiction or the speed addiction or whatever addiction alcohol addiction, whatever addiction you want to call it. And $10 billion is not going to make too much of a dent. So somewhere between 10 to 15 billion, we're going to have to see if the markets went ahead and have this into what's going on. But I would continue to pay attention to the Aussie dollar, the Kiwi dollar, and the pound dollar. Those seems to be 3 movers for next week for those of you that aren't trading much, if you want to expand your horizons. Of course, the US yen and the euro dollar has had most of our attention. We've been staying range bound. We've been able to pick up pips. Those of you that do not want to expand your horizons, keep doing what you're doing because it's working. But do not get blown away when something snaps and it breaks out for 150 or 200 pips. It's coming. Be prepared. So in other words, the reason that we give out information on potential buys and sells is don't get caught up in the fact that you've been range-bound trading now for 3 months. Get ready for when it does break out, that you can make a fundamental decision that when it takes off, you can go along for the ride instead of trying to say it's going to turn around, it's going to turn around, it's going to turn around. You see, one of the areas that we had that was fantastic for the first half of 2013 was that we had the US yen that was trending. It was a huge trender. We moved from 79.50, 80 area all the way up to 103. You got fully trained in that capacity. We had a plethora of videos. The other part of the equation is we had the euro US dollar in a 130 to 134 range. It was a range bound market of 400 pips. We had a situation where we had a range bound market of a pair that we follow, and we had a trending pair that we followed, and we followed it for several months, all the way to about May and June. Now here recently, we've been in range-bound markets. Some of these range-bound markets have broken above. The pound, like we said, have broken up above 56.95. It's went above 57. It's went above 58, and it's trying to retest the 59 area. Other part of the equation is the euro US dollar is in a range, like Brian's talked about, really 32.19 to really 33.29. That's our range right now. And Brian even compressed and compacted the channel even more. The US yen is having issues at 100. We did reach 100 as suggested. I would continue to monitor what's happening with the euro US dollar at the range bound area, the US yen, and pay attention to what's happening for more strength or reversal in the pound and the Aussie dollar. I've sent out a report this morning. It kind of gives you an information of what the numbers are. I'll have a Friday report either late tonight or first thing in the morning. Everybody get rested because next week we have a high probability factor of some markets taking off, and then again we could get disappointed. But the point of contention that I'm trying to share with you is that if we get some markets that start trending, don't get caught up like we have in the past where we had the US yen that was going up for so long, and then all of a sudden it hit around at 103 and it dropped all the way back down to the 96 area, and we kept trying to find ways to go against it. The markets are going to do what the markets are going to do, and I see this euro coming back down near this 32.62 range as it's near 32.68. That's a key area right now. So let's monitor what's going on, pay attention to the Dow. The Dow's up about 40 points. Gold continues to be down. It was down a lot more, but the key area is 1325 to 1300. If it stays in that 1325 to 1300 range, then we should remain range bound. If it starts going above 1325 or below 1300, you're going to have more movement. The Dow, as long as it stays below probably 60 or 70, we're going to have range bound. If it starts going towards 100, you're going to see more weakness in the dollar. Those are your keys, along with the numbers of what's happening under current market conditions. And Brian, I'll turn it back over to you. Everybody have a blessed weekend. I'll have the reports out over the weekend. We'll see everybody in class next week. We'll get ready to rock and roll.
All right, thanks, Forex Joe. Yeah, so we've got some potential trades out there. We have two on that we're waiting on. This is actually what's happening right now with this Euro USD is. Let me pop back over here. So we're really seeing the dollar strengthening, and in the face of a lot of fundamental news that's fairly bad. So interesting to see. A lot of folks might play that fundamental and say, oh, we had negative news. We're gonna sell dollars and buy euros. But the key here is just watching what's happening in your futures market as well, because sometimes the Dow does not react in the same way that that you would expect. And if that's the case, then you'll see things move opposite. So it's important to capture all the different bits of data. And again, today, don't get too excited. Just like we have this whole week, don't get too excited about trying to get into a trade. Sometimes your best trade is to not trade. And just keep that in mind. Wait for the key levels to come into play and place your trades off of the key levels. And don't get caught up in chasing it and trying to force trades, because that's how you can get yourself into a bad position and potentially lose some dollars. So anyway, with that said, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. As news comes out here a little bit later, and I trade through the day, we'll definitely get a recap up. I think we've got a workaround for it. So we'll start getting our recaps back up so you guys can have those this afternoon. And we'll see you again on Monday. Have a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.